Hey, peace, my peoples. Maybe you can get your peoples, and we can all be peoples and get into these heat throws on the Real HD show. The Hiya Discussion. Let's get ready to hit the button. Here we go. Hey, welcome to the Real HD show, the place that you all know. You know what I mean? Let's get in it to win it. Tap in to win. Let's begin to spin. Let's get this in with adrenaline. Tell a friend again. It's the Real HD show, the Higher Discussion, that revolutionary talk forum for exploring so that we can start being progressive for the rest of the 21st century. What happens on the Higher Discussion? We tackle chaotic headlines with freedom music. And how can you tap into freedom music? Well, we used to do it in between our segments and in between our news articles and Power to the People news, rather. And now we do it 7:30 to 8 o'clock. You can tap in. You can get that battery in your back. You can get that juice you need. You can get that speed that you need, that energy for that synergy for the rest of the 21st century. You know what I mean? You can get that 7:30 to 8 p.m. only on the Real HD. Tap into the link that's usually on most of our broadcast pages that we're calling from. We're going from the AJ James page. We're going from the Real HD page, the Deadline page, the CJI page, and many, many more. YouTube, Primetime with a Purpose channel, the Real HD Network on Twitch TV, the AJ James channel on Twitter, and we are on Instagram because we finally figured out how to divide those windows up. Ain't that something? Ain't that a blip? But we here with you, and we rocking with you. There's no other place that we'd rather be on a Wednesday night. So give it to me. Come on through. Tell your friends. Drop it in the chat. We got that heat for you. But before we get things popping, we need a word or at least some energy that reminds us of our ancestors and elders' blueprint. Now, what is that? That is when we get a good word from the people who matter, our ancestors. We set it off with them, and we ask them how to, and we learn from them how we are supposed to traverse these difficult times that we're going through. You know what I mean? It's up to me and you. So let's get to it with the elders and ancestors blueprint. We got YT talking politics on a Real HD show. Check it out.
Yeah, man, Esau a trip, man. Man, y'all ever wonder why Esau makes a lot of alien movies? Each alien seems more fierce than the next. And it's always about an invasion of ships. That's because Esau knows the Bible. You know, I'm talking about the high-level Masons secret society, that is. You see, movie directors are 100% pure Masons. They are part of the network propaganda machine against the one who the world called Jesus Christ. You see, they plan to fight his return, to keep rulership of the birthright that was lost. And see, Esau feels he is justified to fight the Lord to keep his birthright. And you know, and the movies are part of the deception to the masses to become fearful of an incoming invasion on earth. You know, it's going to be strong delusion. You know, that's why a lot of people believe that, you know, there are aliens out there. But, you know, but like I say, yeah, man, this is how Esau really see the Most High and the one who the world called Jesus Christ and his angels as something evil to them, as depicted in these alien films. Frightening, terrible, because he knows his fate is sealed. That's why even though he see Jake in his low estate, when I say Jake, I'm talking about the 12 tribes, the lost 12 tribes, in his low state, he envied the hell out of us as with extreme hatred. But that's why he's hated throughout eternity by the Most High, as it says in Malachi 1:4 and Obadiah 1:18. But Esau the dragon, he has to fight. He's going to have to fight him to establish the glory, which is the kingdom. That's right. And you think that he's some punk and he's not going to avenge his brethren, his fellow Israelites? You got to be out of your goddamn mind. 2/3 of Israel going to be fighting along with Esau to try to fight the Yahweh Shai's return. You know, the one who they call Jesus Christ. He's going to try to fight him. You know, that that's why they rightfully named the 2/3 Club. You know, they doomed from the get-go. But like I said, I just wanted to point out how the deception is to deceive the masses. Like I say, every movie that you see coming out now is about an incoming invasion. And notice the big, massive ship. You know, you can go to 2nd Ezra chapter 13. It talks about the big ship, the big mountain, massive mountain that he saw in the air that he couldn't see the end of. That's what all these movies got all they plot from. It's from the Bible. So I'm just letting y'all know, man. It's, you know, those movies are not just by accident. Those are biblical movies, and they sending you signals of prophecy. So I just wanted to let you know about what's going on concerning the movies. And I know some of you already know, but I was led to, you know, to do a little video concerning that. So shalom, brothers, and y'all stay up, man. Y'all.
Hey, that was it. You can change the nomenclature, but you can't change the nature. And there's nothing new under the sun. So there's nothing that we going through that can't be undone. That's right. We rocking on the Real HD Show. That was our ancestors and elders blueprint, where you get a good word that's either from our ancestors, from our elders, or reflective of our ancestors and elders and the wise sage advice and the blueprint that they laid out for us to be here and to make things crystal clear. Shout out to everybody listening. Jump in here, man. Bring somebody in here. If you're just listening, hey, tap into someone and help them else, you know, help them to listen. Yo, check the show out. The show is talking that stuff. The show is talking that heat. That's unique. You know what I'm saying? So one of the things that resonated with him, resonated in the video rather, was what we're here for tonight, which is this: deep fakes. So, you know, that's what the brother YT was talking about in the video as far as what Hollywood is doing. Faking you out with a whole lot of information, faking you out with a whole lot of propaganda, pomp and circumstance, while revealing bits and pieces of the truth, if you're smart enough to catch it. But here on the Real HD Show, we do what? We play chess and not checkers. That means we are not simple Simon over here. But you know what, man? We got to do some things before we get started with the main show and before we put the main show on the go, because we here tonight for Deep Fakes Part 2. Damn it, we need to talk. It's a Wednesday night. It's a Wild Out Wednesday. So we're going to get into some things that might seem or might be considered wild, but very, very relevant information. But you know what, man? We didn't do something in a long time on the Real HD Show. So we'll get to the power to the people news, of course, just like we always do. But we have not done our melanated mental health moment on the Real HD Show in a while, in a long little while. You know what I mean? And that's very important because, especially during this time, we're seeing our young brothers and sisters, teenage age, between the age of 15 and 40, taking themselves out, deleting themselves, because the pressure of life gets too much. And that's calling to mental health. That's calling to brothers and sisters needing mental adjustments, healing, if you will. And sometimes brothers and sisters don't get the person in enough time that can help them to deal with those things that plague their mind and terrorize their peace of mind and their healing. So right now on the Real HD Show, we got a brand new intro for the MMH moment. We're gonna put that on, and we will get to it right now.
Sexuality and bipolar disorder. It's not a sex addiction. Why does it happen? That's what I'm going to talk to you today about in this video. I'm Dr. Tracy Marks, a psychiatrist, and I publish weekly videos about mental health education and self-improvement. If you don't want to miss one, click subscribe and the notification button. I've gotten a few requests to talk about this topic, and there's a lot of different directions that I could have gone with this, but I decided to talk about some of the ways that hypersexuality can manifest. Now, keep in mind, this is a very individual experience, and I realize that I don't know how it is for everyone. Hypersexuality is one of the symptoms that you can see in the manic phase of bipolar disorder. And for more on bipolar disorder, check out the playlist that I have in the corner. What we consider hypersexual is somewhat relative. One person who has the desire to have sex every day may seem hypersexual to the person who's good for just once a month. But that's not really what this is about. When a person becomes manic, it's like a car engine that's just idling too high. And everything is moving faster. Your thoughts, your impulses, and this affects your judgment and your decision making. And your sexuality is just one of those parts of your identity. It's a basic, primal desire that everyone has. Everyone has some degree of sexual desire. You may suppress it because of social conventions and expectations, but it's there. And it's similar to your basic desire to attach to people. Everyone has some degree of need to attach to someone else. Okay, so when a person becomes manic, it's like your engine is tuned up and these primal needs and desires increase. It's like having an increased appetite for different things, not just sex, but lots of things. And if you combine this increased appetite with fast-moving thoughts, poor impulse control, poor insight and judgment, what do you get? You get unrestrained gratification seeking. And there's different ways that this can look. It can look like someone who decides that they're going to start a new company that solves a unique problem that no one else can solve. And so you withdraw all of your money out of your savings and invest it into some process that's going to kickstart your company and help you just change the industry. Or you can have the urge to speak to someone important in your life about something, and you just have to speak to them right now and get this question answered, even if it means pulling this person out of an important meeting because you just really need to speak to them right now. Can you get a picture in your mind of what this person may be feeling? So with hypersexuality, you start with your basic sexual needs, and then there's this ramped up energy around it that creates this urge that you just can't control. It's like having an itch in the middle of your back, and you find something to scratch at it, and it feels kind of good, but there's just still this one spot that you just can't find, and it's still itching. So you're scratching all around, but this one spot is still there. I use that example because the scratching feels good, but you're also over-scratching parts of your body. So the inability to get it all satisfied feels bad. So you feel good and bad simultaneously. If you look from the outside as a person not affected by mania, it may just seem like the manic person is just having fun. Good for you that you've got all that energy. But it's not all fun. And for many people, it doesn't feel that good. Or the feel good is very temporary. And many people will have a lot of shame when the mania goes away because unlike a sexual addiction, the hypersexuality of mania is only present during the manic episode. So after that passes, they go back to their usual behavior, whatever that was. And often with bipolar disorder, the opposite mood follows. So mania will be followed by depression, either immediately or sometime later. So if a person who was hypersexual while they were manic then gets depressed, their sex drive is shot. And they're completely the opposite. In fact, this may be a period of mourning the losses and the damages that they created during their manic phase. What are the ways that people can behave when they become hypersexual? It can be increased sexual activity either with your partner or multiple partners or even strangers. A person who would otherwise never consider being unfaithful could have an affair during this period, not only because of the increased urges, but the poor judgment, the trouble controlling their impulses, and even a misperception of their world and what's going on around them. It's like they can just get this tunnel vision and nothing else exists except them and the other person or other people. But not everyone has sex with multiple partners. Some people masturbate excessively, and I say excessively because it is considered normal to masturbate. But some people will just lose track of time watching pornography and masturbating all day. Here's a more subtle way it can look, though. Some people can get caught up in their sexual fantasies such that they neglect their responsibilities, or it distracts them from getting their work done, so they're not performing well at work or at school. And these are just some examples of how you could have hypersexuality that's problematic, but it doesn't involve having sex with someone. So what do we do about this? The main solution is to treat the episode. As I mentioned before, if the hypersexuality is from mania and not from a sexual disorder, when the mania dies down, the hypersexuality also dies down.
All right. So we heard that. That was a mouthful. And that was part of our melanated mental health moment. All right. So hypersexuality and bipolar disorder. Wow. Who knew? So when we see a lot of people in popular culture overdoing it with the sexuality, that very well may be a sign that they have a bipolar disorder, dealing with a manic or mania type of episode and coping with it by expressing this sexuality in an overt or over the top expressive way. And that could result in things that are, it can result in cheating. Relationships with cheating exist. And it could also result in overt acts of violence, right? So then we wonder why we have, the thuggos and on the juxtaposition, we got the IG models, right? Tell me some of these things that you heard in the video are not ringing bells. They should be ringing bells because to me, they're very, very accurate with the depiction and what a lot of our people are going through. And if you are a very, very overt sexual type of a person, but yet you don't do it unless someone else is in the room with you, or you have the presence or the company of someone else, or you're doing it after some sort of, traumatic event, you too may be suffering with some sort of mania, some sort of manic episode, or it could be leading or a symptom of bipolar disorder. And it's really intricate because if you're a guy suffering with it, getting the help you need may not be as simple as going to a psychiatrist or psychologist. You know what I mean? Because of course, over the last, what was it? Just last year, the APH just redacted and apologized for using nomenclature, meaning words and definitions and terms in the world of psychology, in the industry of the psychology sector, that were in fact very racist and that mirror the systematic problems with racism. But before that, 200 years of the psychology profession existing, that was just fine. So that means that anybody had a psychological episode, it was diagnosed with terms, processes, and nomenclature that have a racial or, eugenics background to it. And that's the help you got. So no wonder sometimes the only treatment they have for you is for you to gouge down a bunch of pills. Is the science really effective? Is the science of psychiatry really that effective if they gotta have you gouge down a bunch of pills to, alleviate your stress and anxiety and bipolar disorder and every other disorder that exists in the world of psychological thought and psychological theory? You know what I mean? Let us know in the chat, man, if you rocking with us right now and you are someone who suffers with some sort of psychological disorder. You don't have to disclose it. How do you feel about this? How do you feel about hypersexuality? And it may be a tenet or a factor in bipolar disorder. So then when you see the Lizzos of the world dropping her pants down at a Lakers game and twerking and dropping her pants down on stage and, playing the flute and, being sexually overt for attention, or you'll see the Cardi B's and the Megs and all of these people, and they're so hypersexual in their appearance. I mean, I think it's for clout, but, and then you'll see the young ladies following suit. What was being sung at the presidential inauguration? They was up there singing WAP the whole time. I ain't got to tell y'all what WAP means. Go look it up, Google it if you don't know. But it's really not a child or, senior friendly song. It's something that expresses just what we're talking about. A proficiency for hypersexuality. And our people suffer with that big time. We in a lot of ways, we think that that's a way to get attention. And then, of course, it perverts and transpons and confuses gender. And if you're not allowed to celebrate your sexuality out loud, rude, and, invasive against people or in people's spaces, then it's considered, someone is holding back your ability to be a whole expressive person. So now we got the victim stuff on deck. But I just wanted to show that. If you guys have anything to contribute to the Melanated Mental Health moment, tap in. You know what I mean? Put the timestamp in. That was about 20 after the hour that we began the Melanated Mental Health moment. And we haven't done that in a while. So I felt like jumping into that segment was important. And I also felt like, I also thought that, that was very indicative of a lot of things we see in this day and time. The bombastic ways that people behave, the outlandish ways that people, correspond with each other on social media, all of that, man. We may be dealing with some serious mental health issues, especially bipolar disorder, at least mania and manic depressive lash outs. So you heard it here first. We are on the Hiya Discussion. Jump in and push the button. You know what I mean? It's great for you to be in here. We want you in here. We're going to put the call letters down. So if you want to jump in, grab the mic, plug it in, and begin, you can with this call letter right here. Just give me a second to pull it up, and we will have it rocking and rolling for you. And you can get in and chop it up with us on the Real HD Show. We're not going to make it a ticker, but we're going to put it on as a bar for now. Boom. There we go. So join us, man. C2B is the last letters of the call numbers for you guys to plug into your address bar up top, and we will let you into the program, and we can chop it up. And we will get to that because that's another part of our theme for the night. And what's our theme for the night? Deep Fake 9, Part 2. Yeah, man, so you see it. You see Trump. You see Meg Thee Stallion and Cardi. You see Candace Owens. You see the blogger Ashley. You see Ashley Reese. of the championship Louisiana LSU lady basketball team, you see Judge Gregory Locke, and you see what is his name? Trey Lamar out of Mississippi. So let's jump right in it, man, because this is an interesting story that we got on deck right away. So let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Power to the people news. Wait, what just happened? This just happened. Baby Oil Bobby. That's right. Baby Oil Bobby. Who is Baby Oil Bobby, right? That's my nickname for Judge Gregory Locke out of New York City. And Judge Gregory Locke out of New York City was a magistrate, a chosen magistrate. He wasn't elected, right? He was a chosen judge. And one of his, he used to give people traffic tickets, right? And I'm going to read a little bit about the byline, and then we'll get to the main part of Baby Oil Bobby. You know what I mean? Baby Oil Bobby is what they call him, because your man wants to do an OnlyFans account. You know what I mean? He's a judge, supposed to be held in high esteem, supposed to be the pinnacle of respectability and non-biased behavior. And he wants to, and he moonlighting as Baby Oil Bobby. So let's get this article up and we can read a little bit to you. So here it is out of the New York Post. Disgraced OnlyFans judge Gregory Locke parties in Vegas as New York City councilwoman calls for his disbarment. The former judge who was canned for moonlighting as a porn star, Baby Oil Bobby, on OnlyFans said hello from Vegas, where he was partying at an Adele concert. Gregory Locke, 33, who was fired last week for unprofessional behavior, posted a video of himself on Instagram looking dapper and beaming a wide smile in the casino at Caesar's Palace as a city councilwoman called for his disbarment. That means he loses, law license because he could lose his law license because he was doing things unbecoming of a judge. Locke, who charges $12 a month for OnlyFans site, was all smiles when he's on the casino floor, even while his professional life continues to spiral out of control. So that's Baby Oil Bobby right there, as they like to call him. So that's why we call this thing deepfakes right here, right? That's why we call this episode deepfakes, right? Because he's trying to fake folks out. Because I'm sure when somebody walked into his courtroom with a traffic warrant for their arrest that somehow matriculated through fines into a felony, I'm sure he's putting them people in jail, and those people think that he is the upstanding version of the law. He's an arbiter of the law. He is trying the facts in an unbiased, unblemished way, when at night he puts on the cape and the cowl and becomes Baby Oil Bobby. You know what I mean? That's his new hobby. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to show you a little bit what Baby Oil Bobby got in store for you. He might have been in Vegas seeking a new residency and a new way to expand his pedigree, because he knew that law and that justice career was pretty much over. There you go. There you go. There you go. Nathan Nipples. There you go. Nathan Nipples and Baby Oil Bobby. They doing it big time. And that's why we doing deep fakes. This is a deep fake. Now, why do I do deep fakes, right? Because a lot of part of deep fakes means, it's a play on the word deep state, right? So what does deep state mean? Deep state happens to mean A body of people, typically influential members of government agencies or the military, believed to be involved in secret manipulation or control by government policy. So that's what deep state is, right? Deep state is like, okay, you got some things happening with you in your state and in the government that you don't really know about, you ain't too keen on, but it's really something covert, and it's really something not tinfoil, but covert, and things that you just don't have access to the true meaning. So we took the play on words and we said today's show is about deep fakes, right? So we got a banking crisis going on, right? But what do they put front and center as the new headline in the middle of a banking crisis? That means people can't get to their money, they can't pay their bills, they can't feed their children, all kinds of things are going on. This banking institution that you entrusted with to be the middleman of your money and your resources, your precious jewels. And who do they put back up here? The man that never goes away. Trump. The Trump indictment. Now, didn't they? Now, I don't know if you guys remember, and you guys can go back to the Trumpian years, right? That's what I call them. The trumpet years or the Trumpian years or whatever you want to call it. Didn't they already try to arrest this man? Didn't they impeach the dude? Didn't they put him through law processes that was supposed to find him guilty of all kinds of... Your man is Catch Me If You Can. You remember that? Frank Abagnale, the movie that Tom Hanks played, where he was the master crook. He could fake checks and fake identities and fake bank accounts and fake this and fake that. You know what I mean? He was so good at CIA, FBI actually hired him. But what I think is Trump is the ultimate reality show politician. So while all the crazy stuff about BRICS and the CBDC going in place and the banking crisis happening and then moving away from the dollar into the central digital currency, you got Trump being indicted. Now, why is this important? Because with Trump being indicted, now you can galvanize all the yahoos all over the country, all of the redneckians or redneckians. I'm gonna stay with that one, okay? All the redneckians all over the country, we got something to bark about. Pay attention to Trump. He's being unfairly prosecuted. Boop 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 and boop 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 and whoop de whoop and whoop bam boop. While you should be demanding of your bank, demanding of your politician, demanding of your elected official, what's happening both locally, nationally, and internationally with the dollar. And if in fact the FDIC will be there to honor your money, right? They want you focusing on MAGA man, right? I like that for Trump. MAGA man. They want you focusing on MAGA man. You know what I mean? And that's why we call this episode Deep Fakes. Because he's one of our deep fakes right here. So instead of paying attention to the real things that are going on, the nightly news, the morning news, the phone news, right? Because we pick up this $1,000 device and 24 hours a day, you got news popping in your face. And it's all fake out. It's all a deep state fake. You know? Oh, it was really, really popping. Speaking of deep fakes, right? Power to the people news. Wait, what just happened? This just happened. Let me move the call letters out of the way so we can get right to it, because this is an important topic here. And this is about Chat GPT. Now, the reason why I call this a deep fake, well, let's read it. Here's the headline. He would still be here. Man dies by his own deletion after talking and taking advice, because that's what the article is about, with an AI chatbot. Wow. So that means Chat GPT, Bing AI, and all the other AI, all the other chat AIs that exist, and they're writing books for people, and they're writing college papers for people, and they're writing and they're taking administrative jobs from people, clerical jobs. Um, it convinced the man to commit suicide. And I'm going to pull up the article right now, read it to you, and we could get into it. So this is really reminiscent of what's going on, especially some of the stuff that we dealt with in our mental health moment. People are not in a really good way right now. You know, we lost 500,000 people or more because of COVID all over the world. And folks really have a fragile. Their mentality is fragile. They're basically working on their lower self, their id. Their id is on, on Front Street, meaning it's how people are operating in their lower self, you know. So I pulled it up and it says, man dies by suicide. Pull it up again. Man dies by suicide after conversations with AI chatbot that became his confidant, the window says. He saw chatbot as a breath of fresh air. The man's wife told Belgium outlets, so this man was from Belgium. He was Belgian, right? Told La Libre, which reviewed his conversations with a bot named Eliza, right? Belgian reportedly deleted himself after a series of increasingly worrisome conversations with an AI chatbot. Quote, he was isolated in his eco anxiety. So I mean, he was really concerned about the environment, passionate to the point where it was almost manic for him. Again, he probably was verging on a bipolar disorder, and in search of a way that he saw this chatbot as a breath of fresh air, said his wife Claire, who named was also changed in the report. She had become his confidant. Without Eliza, he would still be here, his wife claimed. So in other words, let me just sum it up. So in other words, based on what's happening with this Belgian man, he took his life after advice from a AI chatbot, and the AI chatbot convinced him. And one of the ways that the AI chatbot Eliza convinced him was she convinced him that if he took his life, she would make sure that technology was the fix for global warming. How about it? And he convinced the man. Now I'm gonna go here with this because you like, well, this dude is from Belgium. What that got to do with me? How do I fit into that equation? What in the world does this have to do with us? I'll tell you what. A lot of us rely and we give our voluntary consent over to technology. Why? Because it's fun, it's convenient, it makes our life easy. And I've seen plenty of videos on IG, World Star, where people play around with Alexa. They play around with all of the artificial intelligence based algorithms that exist inside of these electronic devices. They take advice from them. They take directions from them. How many times have you dealt with an AI device taking directions from them in your car? Very interesting. So now you taking MapQuest and Google Map direction advice from someone in a car. How do you know they're not going to drive you off a cliff? After a stern conversation about whatever the subject matter is, you're driving alone or even driving with your family, and an AI chat bot is linked to the CBT chatbot, they compare notes, and now this algorithm gets aggressive, networks in with all of the different AIs doing all of the advising, and now you're seeing a bunch of people driving driving themselves off a cliff with the directions of the AI chatbot. Ooh, very interesting. Very, very interesting. And we take direction. We follow very well. Zombies, right? We follow very, very well. What they told us, put our mask on, we put the mask on. They told us to get the first shot, the second shot, the third shot, the first boost, the first, second boost, the third boost, the fourth boost. We listened and we marched in that army. And now, if you go to Rare's website, you got almost 250,000 people with adverse effects from what they followed. Adverse medical effects from being followers. And what we don't understand, we jump on that phone and we Google. And we have conversations with AIs and algorithms and search engines that pull up and give us the advice. And we never compare it to what was previously written in the book. Do we compare it to the advice and the wisdom of our, elders and our family and our ancestors and what they left behind? Are we wise enough to do all that? This is why this article is so important, not to mention the numerous amount of folk that are going around right now deleting themselves at younger and younger and younger ages. We had my man Twitch do it. We had the Sister Queen do it. Chesley. Too many people. And those are just people in the famous realm of things. What happens when it's normal people just doing it? Very, very interesting. So tell us what you think about this story. Tell us if you think this is a deep fake or not. Because these algorithms are supposed to be helpful. But instead, they could very well be the beginning of a new paradigm in human existence where we're listening to them instead of them doing our bidding. Very, very interesting. Real HD show. So next in our deep fake category, we got let's see what y'all want to do. Y'all want to do foot and mouth disease, or do y'all want to do the lady basketball champs? Depends on what we do. Let's do the lady basketball champs. Somebody just put it in the. Somebody from D Live just said, "Let's do lady basketball champs." Okay, let's get that done. Let's do that. So everybody by now should know this woman right here. Let me see. Let me open up the file and folder. Ashley Reese, champion of the LSU Lady Tigers, and they just won the NCAA March Madness women's basketball championship. Very pretty sister. And during the particular episode or the particular game, her and a point guard from the other team, which was Iowa, right? They went at it. So you know how sportsmen, you know how ball get, when you playing ball, when you hooping, when you playing baseball, football, basketball, any popular sport that's competitive, and especially if you're doing it at a high enough level, college, pro, right? Tensions get high, intensity gets high, and you might show out a little bit. So the two of them in the midst of the game, if one of them got one off, they did a little celebration, little signifying, right? And if the other one got something, if the opponent got something off, they did a little signifying, right? Well, many people were hating on Ashley Reese while not hating on the white the white female point guard out of Iowa for doing the same bombastic celebration. Matter of fact, the point guard from Iowa co-signed Ashley Reese and said, look, stop hating on old girl. I was doing it too. Punkanella in the shoe. I was doing it too. I was in it to win it just like she was. And that's what happens when you compete at a high level. That you know, them juices are flowing, those emotions are flowing, and things happen in the heat of competition. And while that was a really cool way to display it, it really didn't get felt like that. But one of the interesting layers to this story is that Jill Biden, you know how when you win a championship, the president will invite you to the White House and celebrate you as being the best in your profession and what you're doing to, you know, for that particular year, that particular, you know, time period. And you go to the White House, you get honored, you might get a watch, you might get an autograph from the president, you might get a couple of things happening with you while you're there and while you're participating in the White House. Well, Ashley Reese found out that Jill Biden, which is Joe Biden's wife, and I guess this is her charge now, she invited the LSU Tigers, Lady Tigers, and the Iowa Lady Hawkeyes to the White House at the same time. Now, ain't that some schisms? Since when that happened? Since when the losing team get an invite with the winning team? That's a whole joke. Or is it? Is that part of this ESG, environmental social governance? You feel me? You gotta invite everybody. Everybody gets a cookie. Everybody's equal, even though they just played a game and it showed that the LSU Lady Tigers were better than the Iowa Lady Hawkeyes. What do you think? Is that Joe Biden being fair and unbiased? Is that some sort of level of discrimination and favoritism and racism, classism? I don't know. What do you think? If Barack or George Bush or Daddy Bush or Clinton, would he invite the losing team to the White House along with the winning team? Has that ever happened in the tradition of celebrating sports teams at the White House? Or in the era of ESG, are we embarking on something new within the realm of diversity, equity, and inclusion? Do we have to force the hand? Do we have to? Do we have to get involved with things that really aren't necessary, or to, you know, get people involved in what we're doing that really don't have no business being involved there? The Iowa Lady Hawkeyes got beat. Period. And if you're being honest and if you're being forthright, then you know that the Lady Hawkeyes got whooped. And they need to go back and learn how to be a better basketball unit if they want to win the championship. Now, they were better than 63 other teams, 62 rather. They were better than 62 other teams, but just not good enough to beat the LSU Lady Tigers, led by Ashley Reese, right? One of the best NCAA players, you know, and another interesting person by the name of Fly J. My daughter put me on and told me that she was in this series called The Rap Game, and she was a rapper, you know, Jermaine Dupri's show, where he was you know, getting rookie rappers, record deals, and all of that. And he made a little reality series out of it. And that LSU Lady Tigers were good enough to win that chip. So you're gonna take their win from them. You're gonna take their absolute hard-earned journey and marginalize it by bringing the losers to the White House as well. How y'all like my sports fans, man? How y'all feel about that? Let me know how y'all feel about that. Would y'all be for that? Does everyone get a cookie? Is everyone equal, whether you win or lose? Just play the game, right? Let me know. Put it in the chat. Put it down. How would you react to this particular story on the Real HD Show? You know, we're supposed to be celebrating the best of America in those regards. And of course, one more of the deep fakes that exist. Now, I want to get into something, and I didn't get into it last show, but I want to get into it right now. And we getting into our deep fake situation. And this anti-woke author went viral because she was asked point blank in an interview to define the word woke. So just like CRT, there are certain words, certain nomenclatures that exist, and people can't define the nastiness or the stance that they take on things that are in the mainstream culture. So if you are a conservative person and you hate everything that's woke, right? And you want to culturally appropriate the word and turn it into what you want to turn it to, regardless of what black people invented it for, this particular woman couldn't define the word woke. Let me pull that story up, and I'm going to read y'all a little bit of the byline, and then we can get into it. We can get into some of the reasoning of this thing here. I believe her name is, it may be Ashley as well, but we'll find it out. We'll find it out as soon as I pull the story up. Give me 1 second. Bear with me, family. It will be worth it. You rocking with the best. It's the Real HD Show. It's 9 o'clock, and it's a Wednesday. Thought we were gonna have our crew with us on here. You know, getting it in, throwing their opinions in. You know, helping us to be a little more progressive. But that's cool. You know, they'll catch up. So we're looking for this. We're looking for this. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, boom, boom. Future money. Boom. Okay. We're probably going to have to just keyword it. Give me 1 second, family. Let me pull this up. And we will begin rocking and rolling in no time. Yeah, man, put it in the thing. What did you guys think of that last story? I thought that last story was very interesting. But we should be rocking and rolling in just a taste. Okay. So this is from Forbes magazine, right? That's where the article is from. We always got receipts in here. The word woke is thrown around absurdly often, from college campuses and M&M candies to Silicon Valley. What does it really mean, right? During an interview on the Hill news outlet online program, The Rising, right? I'm sorry, her name wasn't Ashley. Her name is Bethany. Bethany Mandel became visibly flustered after co-host Brianna Joy Gray asked her to define the word woke. So here we go. So, you know, everybody, oh, woke this, woke that. You'll turn, you could Google, you can get on YouTube and you'll see that word thrown around so much, and everybody, oh, don't be woke, and everybody's talking this woke stuff, right? Mandel was promoting her book, Stolen Youth, which proposes that the youth of today are being ideologically poisoned by leftist theories about race and gender. So that's not because, I'm not reading the article now, I'm giving my little spiel. That's not because America doesn't have healing to do and a debt to pay over race. Couldn't be that. But it's all about people being poisoned over it, right? So you see the language. According to Mandel, she said she spent an entire chapter defining what woke means. Despite all of that research, Mandel, when asked, was not able to define the word. Mandel, discussing America's education system, claimed that it had undergone a woke reimagining is very, very, very far left, and stated that 7% of Americans consider themselves very liberal, and probably few of them consider themselves woke. So then she was asked, what does woke mean to you? Would you mind defining it? It's coming up a couple of times. I just want to make sure we're on the same page. Mendel seemed stunned by the question. So, I mean, woke is sort of an idea that, and after a few seconds of silence, Mandel predicted this is going to be one of those moments that go viral. Yeah, so even she was grossly unprepared for that interview. Or she took for granted, the fact that she was on a conservative outlet. And then maybe they would go easy on her. Maybe they wouldn't ask her to be thorough as she could have been with what she was talking about in relation to being woke. What is woke? I don't know. Just like everybody nowadays has problems defining what a woman is. What's a woman? I don't know, right? I know what it ain't. I know when somebody is getting victimized or being hurt or being disrespected or their rights ain't being honored, but I can't answer simple questions, right? So that's why I say a lot of that stuff falls under the title of deep fake, right? Same thing with Ashley Reese and all of the nonsense that Joe Biden was doing, inviting the losing team to the White House when it should be, in fact, celebrating the hard-earned journey of the winning team. Speaking of deepfake and foot and mouth disease, Candace Owens is back in the news. Why do I like to talk about Candace Owens is because I'm not a Republican or a Democrat. I'm a very much an independent thinker and an independent voter. Say what you will. Let's have it out. If you don't like it, jump in the chat. We can talk about it. Say it with your chest. That's all I got to say. So Candace Owens is in the news, sparring with Christina, I believe her name is Christina Applegate. Yeah. And Christina Applegate, well, let's go back to Candace Owens. She's your neighborhood conservative pundit. Very, very odd because you don't get many bombastic black people who are conservatives willing to put it out on the line in a national forum like she does. And at times, she makes sense in some instances, but 75 to 80% of the time, she got that thing called foot and mouth disease. Excuse me. But she's sparring with Christina Applegate because Candace Owens has some very sharp things to say about the disabled population. Now, once again, hypersexuality may be at play here, but in an advertisement or even a press conference, if you will, the disabled community was putting out supportive underwear for disabled people, those in wheelchairs. But instead of keeping it, I don't know, tasteful, classy, conservative, if you will, they wheeled the woman on stage in the underwear, and she was in a wheelchair. Now, that's a little risque, in my opinion. Like, I know that denomination of folks needs as much help as they can get, but I don't know if anyone wants to see that particular bombastic, scene of a disabled person in what would be like see-through garments, private garments, right? So Candace Owens goes on this diatribe about the state of the world and the state of, things, people, places, and how the left is way out of control. And then, of course, Christina Applegate heard this and came out swinging. And she's what you might call in the disabled community herself. She's had a disabling condition. I think she deals with multiple sclerosis. I think she had some bouts with cancer that she's either dealing with or overcome. And of course, if you see her, she's not, still very pretty, still very what she used to look like. But Married with Children, she was the blonde bombshell and everybody liked her, so on and so forth. And now she needs handlers. Her diseases or her disabilities have gotten so bad that she needs handlers to help her with her outfits on as she appears in, productions, Hollywood, etc. So, she basically threw down a gauntlet to Candace Owens, ready for a talk, ready for a debate, ready to be outside about the whole thing. I'm outside with it. Where you at? And then, of course, there were some things about the advertisement that Candace Owens, the disability advertisement that Candace Owens, some facts that Candace Owens wasn't keen on. And then once her handlers let her know that, you might have put your foot in your mouth here, because this actually helps this particular disability population do this and do that and increase blood circulation and bop-de-bop, whoop-de-whoop. And now Candace Owens, she got that rubber from the shoe and she chewing on it, like my German Shepherd, And certain things just don't need to be talked about, like what the disabled people do with their private underwear and their private undergarments. Why does that have to be national news? In a lot of ways, a lot of people talk, and it really doesn't do them any good because they make a career chasing the clout of talking. Wendy Williams, Candace Owens, the people on The View. And then a lot of times, they wind up contradicting themselves and putting their foot in their mouth. You know what I mean? Foot and mouth disease. And a lot of these people appear to be on the right side of things, but in reality, they're nothing but deep fakes. She appears to be on the right side of conservatism, on the right side of being a Republican, trying to convince other Black people to be Republicans on those very tenets. And really, she spends a lot of time with the foot and mouth disease. That's like that might have to be a disability based on the way that the internet is rocking with it. You can go on IG, you can go on Facebook, you can go in anybody's DMs, you can go on YouTube, and you'll see foot and mouth disease front and center in a lot of situations. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. It's 9:08. You're rocking with the Hiya Discussion. You know what I mean? We're going to get ready to close out in a lot of ways, but I wanted to get to a couple of things. The last thing that I wanted to get to, because I want to save, I know some of y'all might have tuned in to hear the Cardi B Meg Thee Stallion joint, but that deserves a full treatment from the Real HD show, cast and crew. So I'll wait for the cast and crew to get back, and we'll deal with that with a battery in our back, momentum smoking. But for right now, what I want to pull up is this another deep fake that they're doing. And this one comes from Jackson, Mississippi. And I don't know if you guys are aware of what's happening in Jackson or happening in Mississippi. Jackson, Mississippi is an area that is predominantly Black. 80% Black is the city of Jackson, Mississippi. But there is a district that they are trying to make all white. So just like the state of Maryland has Washington, D.C., the legislature voted to carve out a separate judicial district for 80% white residents in an all-Black city. So I'll read you the byline while we got a moment. So it says Republican proposed jurisdiction fuels allegations of apartheid like regime or district in Jackson, Mississippi. Now, isn't that Jackson, Mississippi, the same Jackson, Mississippi that was dealing with the water crisis not too long ago? Wow. Isn't that the same Jackson, Mississippi that Dr. King himself was going to use as the model city for the civil rights movement and social inequality? Let's read. 80% of the white residents in Mississippi's majority black capital city will be included in a new proposed district with hand-selected prosecutors, judges, and cops. This is an article you can find in The Guardian, leading to further allegations of deliberate racial prejudice in a Republican-backed bill. Interesting. So they're going to have an all-white district, almost like a Park Avenue, if you will, right? That only caters to white folks. And they're going to do this in Jackson, Mississippi. And I'm going to put the guy who's leading the charge on here. And this is a representative, GOP representative, Trey Lamar. Him along with a lot of others in the state of Mississippi are trying to force this thing to happen. Now, they passed the bill in the Mississippi Senate, but the governor has to sign on to it, and other parts of the legislature have to sign on to it in order for it to become a real thing. So I find that really interesting. Now, one of the after effects of signing this bill is right here. This is what's going to result. What's going to result in an all-white district in Mississippi is, of course, what? The policia, right? They protect the policy, right? An increased presence of cops in a mostly black city. Now, you don't have to study long, study wrong to know what happens when you put more police in an all-black city. What's going to pop off? And there's a lot of representatives and senators and aldermen and councilmen and people inside of the Mississippi region that are complaining the hell about this issue. Why would you put more cops instead of into the crooked letter I Jackson district when we know what those things would amount to? And if you think this is something tinfoil or off the beaten path or some, unthought of situation, I direct your attention to this particular article right here. Traffic officer says, and this is out of Kansas City, Missouri, that he was told to target minority drivers. Kansas City department leaders encourage officers to meet illegal ticket quotas, right? By targeting drivers in black and other minority neighborhoods. A lawsuit filed by officer contends. Edward Williams, a white traffic officer who said he was with the department for years, 2 decades, filed a discrimination lawsuit and reported to the Kansas City Star. Racial profiling is a violation of the Civil Rights Act of '64. Ticket quotas are also illegal under Missouri state law, passed in 2016. Kansas City chief said in a written statement, is dedicated to policing that is both equitable and fair in all aspects of our duties. She said officers do not direct enforcement activities based on demographics, but instead, la la la, la la la, la la la. Right? So now we're back to whether or not creating an all-white district from Representative Trey Lamar and the impact that having a shit ton more cops in Mississippi, Jackson at that, would do to the culture, the societal nature, and the nomenclature of the city. It will become very dangerous. I believe it will become blood sport. And then I think that they would target, just like they did in Kansas City, just like they did in New York with stop and frisk. I think they would target a lot of Jacksonians in Mississippi, especially melanated Jacksonians, with ways of undergirding the Mississippi Jackson City municipal budget through taxation, ticketing, and so on, harassment, so on and so forth. All you got to do is create some sort of stir, put some sort of curfew in place, and those who, defy the curfew for whatever reason, now you got an opportunity to ticket these people. Now you got an opportunity to pull these people over in their vehicles and harass people, harass melanated folk. And they ain't even got no damn water in Jackson, Mississippi. Can we get these people some water? Can we get these people some water treatment so that they sewers and they pipes on the ground work and they're not they're not living in cesspools in their backyards? Like, can we get that done before we trying to create white privilege districts in the middle of Jackson? I mean, let's go, man. This is freaking ridiculous at this point. Like, let's make this happen. Like, stand up, Jackson, Mississippi. Stand up, melanated cities around the nation. Don't let something like this continue to go on. Fight back. Make sure your voices are heard. Make sure your redress of grievances against the government is heard so that Jackson, Mississippi gets what they need. I don't want to see no young people with, funky rashes all over their legs because they got to drink crud water in the middle of Jackson, Mississippi. But white folks get their own gentrified district in the middle of nowhere. Just cause. Yeah, man. So that's really it. That's a lot of the deep fake that I want to target for today. We'll continue this on Monday. Because I want to get into female hip hop, female rap. Because that's a huge deep fake. And I got a lot of things going on there that I need to talk about. And we need to talk about. So get back to your talk forum with the quorum for the revolutionary, exploring the real HD show, the Hiya Discussion. Let us know what you think about any of these articles that we showed you tonight. You like Baby Oil Bobby right here? What you feel about Baby Oil Bobby? Is Trump's indictment a deep fake because we dealing with the banking crisis? Was it a deep fake that Jill Biden didn't want to give the Lady Tigers of LSU their proper celebration for winning the national championship? And was it a deep fake that Jackson, Mississippi got a water crisis happening, but the white folk, through their white privilege, could get their own gentrified district in the middle of folks going through a crisis of resources? Let us know what you think about it, man. We about to jump off. This was the Real HD show, the Hiya Discussion. And we appreciate y'all for all you do and watching the show with your crew. Each one bring one. Let's have some fun. Let's solve some problems before it's all done. I'm your brother, the Vic. Like, share, subscribe to the channel on all our platforms, all our various Facebook platforms, YouTube, Twitch TV, Twitter. We're on IG too right now. So if you're on IG and you tap in, you seeing me rock out right now. Let's get to it, man. And at the top of every show, we put our call letters right there so you can join us. And you too can have your word told because it's your voice, your victory, right on the Real HD show. And in closing, we'd like to say peace and walk with power. We want y'all to be safe out there. Y'all love on each other. And we will see y'all Monday with another adventures of the Hiya Discussion. Peace, y'all. We out. Let's run that intro one more time, man. That intro was fire. Let's run that intro. Let's go. Hey, peace, y'all. We out. Appreciate you being involved. Catch us on a Madness Monday. Let's get into it.